They mocked him as a liar, a fraud, even a madman. Yet decades later, many of Bob Lazar's shocking claims about Area 51 seem strangely ahead of their time. He spoke of anti-gravity propulsion, the mysterious element 115, and hidden government operations, ideas once dismissed as science fiction. But what if the man the world ridiculed was telling the truth all along? Could it be that Lazar, once dismissed as delusional, actually revealed secrets the government never wanted us to know? The whistleblower who shook the world. It's 1989, and a soft-spoken physicist named Bob Lazar walks into a Las Vegas TV station with the most explosive story in modern UFO history. With his face hidden in shadows and his voice disguised, he drops a bombshell that reverberates through the conspiracy world even today. Lazar claimed he worked at a top-secret facility called S4, located near the infamous Area 51 in Nevada. According to Lazar, he was tasked with something that sounds straight out of science fiction: reverse engineering alien spacecraft. The details were mind-boggling. 9 flying saucers, each with technology so advanced it defied our current understanding of physics. Anti-gravity propulsion systems. Materials that could bend spacetime itself. And at the heart of it all, a mysterious fuel source he called Element 115. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Back in 1989, Element 115 didn't officially exist. The periodic table stopped at much lower numbers, and the idea of super-heavy elements was purely theoretical. Most scientists dismissed Lazar as a fraud, pointing to this impossible element as proof of his deception. But what if they were wrong? The scientific community wasn't kind to Lazar. His educational credentials came under scrutiny, with no records found of his claimed degrees from MIT and Caltech. His employment history became murky, with government agencies seemingly scrubbing his existence from official records. Yet Lazar never wavered. Through decades of ridicule, government harassment, and public skepticism, he maintained his story with unwavering consistency. Either he was the most committed liar in UFO history, or something far more sinister was at play. The element and gravity waves. In 2003, Russian scientists at the Joint Institute for Nuclear Research created element 115 for the first time by bombarding americium with calcium ions. Though the atoms lasted only milliseconds before decaying, it marked another milestone in expanding the periodic table. For UFO researchers, however, the discovery was stunning because Bob Lazar had spoken about element 115 14 years earlier, claiming it was the key fuel source for alien spacecraft. While his description did not perfectly match the lab-made version, it echoed theoretical predictions of stable isotopes within the so-called island of stability. The element, later officially named muscovium, decays far too quickly to serve as a usable energy source, making Lazar's claims of a stable isotope even more controversial. He suggested extraterrestrials had access to a natural, stable version of the element, something far what current science has achieved. This raised the tantalizing question: could undiscovered isotopes exist that match Lazar's descriptions, bridging the gap between science and his extraordinary claims? The element itself, Lazar described in remarkable technical detail how UFOs allegedly used element 115 to generate gravity waves. According to him, alien craft could manipulate spacetime by producing their own gravitational fields, essentially allowing them to fall into distortions and achieve impossible acceleration. Far from random speculation, his explanation connected directly with Einstein's theory of relativity, but with a twist, suggesting gravity could be actively engineered. While mainstream science has not validated his claims, modern research is inching closer to concepts Lazar discussed decades ago, including gravitational waves, exotic matter, and experimental propulsion theories. Though we are still far from harnessing such technology, his descriptions remain eerily aligned with emerging scientific thought. Just as a smartphone would have looked like sorcery in the 19th century, Lazar's accounts may represent a glimpse of physics that humanity simply has not yet caught up to. The government's suspicious behavior. One of the most compelling aspects of the Lazar story is how the government has responded to him over the decades. Instead of simply ignoring a delusional man, federal agencies have taken extraordinary steps to discredit and harass him. Lazar's educational records mysteriously vanished from MIT and Caltech. His employment history became impossible to verify. Even basic details about his past seemed to evaporate from official databases. This level of systematic erasure suggests either an incredibly elaborate hoax or a deliberate cover-up operation. The harassment didn't stop with document scrubbing. Lazar reported being followed, his phones tapped, and his business ventures targeted by federal agencies. In 2018, the FBI raided his company, claiming they were investigating a customer who had purchased materials from him. However, many observers noted the suspicious timing and thoroughness of the raid. Why would the government go to such lengths to discredit someone they claim is just a liar? The typical response to fraudsters is legal action or simple dismissal. The sustained, multi-decade campaign against Lazar suggests he touched a nerve that continues to throb decades later. The most intriguing theory is that Lazar did work on classified projects, but not necessarily alien technology. Perhaps he witnessed experimental aircraft so advanced that the government preferred to let him be dismissed as a UFO crank rather than reveal the true nature of their black projects. The Pentagon's stunning admissions. For decades, the government's official position was clear: UFOs don't exist, and anyone claiming otherwise is delusional. This stance made it easy to dismiss Bob Lazar as just another conspiracy theorist chasing impossible dreams. Then 2017 happened. The New York Times published a bombshell report revealing the Pentagon's Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, ATIP, a secret UFO investigation program that had been running since 2007. Suddenly, the same government that had ridiculed UFO witnesses was admitting they took the phenomenon seriously enough to spend millions studying it. Highly anticipated UAP report was delivered to the United States Senate, marking a significant shift in official acknowledgement of unidentified aerial phenomena. The released videos showed objects performing maneuvers that defied conventional physics, instant acceleration, right-angle turns at impossible speeds, and technology that seemed to ignore the laws of aerodynamics. These were official military footage captured by trained pilots using sophisticated equipment. The parallels to Lazar's descriptions were unmistakable. The craft exhibited anti-gravity behavior, moved without visible propulsion systems, and demonstrated capabilities that our best technology couldn't replicate. After decades of denial, the government was essentially confirming that objects matching Lazar's descriptions were real. While this doesn't prove alien origin, it validates the core of Lazar's claims about advanced craft with impossible capabilities. The question shifted from do these objects exist, to what are they, and who controls them? Scientific vindication and modern research. The scientific community's relationship with Bob Lazar's claims has evolved dramatically over the past 3 decades. What once seemed like pseudoscientific rambling now appears prophetic in several key areas. Element 115, Lazar described other exotic materials and physics concepts that were purely theoretical in 1989 but have since gained scientific credibility. His discussions of gravity manipulation, exotic matter, and space-time distortion align with cutting-edge research in theoretical physics. Modern scientists are seriously investigating concepts like the Alcubierre drive, which could theoretically achieve faster-than-light travel by warping space-time around a spacecraft. This matches Lazar's description of how the alien craft operated by manipulating space itself. Until science demonstrates a stable isotope with the extraordinary behaviors he described, Lazar's claims about element 115 remain unverified but not impossible. The key word here is until, suggesting that future discoveries could vindicate even his most outlandish claims. Metamaterials research has produced substances with properties that seemed impossible just decades ago, materials that can bend light around objects, creating invisibility effects. If we can manipulate electromagnetic radiation in ways that once seemed magical, perhaps gravity manipulation isn't as far-fetched as it appears. The emergence of quantum physics has shattered our classical understanding of reality. Particles can exist in multiple states simultaneously, information can travel instantly across vast distances, and the act of observation can change physical properties. In a world where quantum mechanics routinely violates our intuitions about reality, Lazar's claims seem less absurd.